maybe it was Dan's announcement. There's some arrangement has been made, or I don't know, it was saving, so just rather than me say it ham-fistedly, please reiterate what is happening to the curriculum position, and then what, if anything, is happening to the duties and responsibilities of the assistant superintendent that was Mr. Soto.
So the curriculum position, so the original structure that I mentioned at the last meeting was assuming that we had an interim superintendent and Mr. Soto as the assistant superintendent, or we had both positions, fully paid for superintendent and an interim assistant superintendent. Sorry, let me think about this again. An interim superintendent and Mr. Soto, that's right. So, the dollar amount that was saved by not hiring a new curriculum person more than covers the expense of hiring an interim superintendent to replace Mr. Capone for the remainder of the year. That assumes that we're paying 2 people. So with moving Mr. Soto up to the position of interim superintendent, that's even more of a cost savings at this point. Obviously, the roles and responsibilities will have to be covered, and so we now have we will have 4 building principals who are able to manage their buildings. We also have curriculum and benchmarks that have been written by the teachers and are being implemented. The curriculum is being overseen by the building principals. And so then the question is, what are the roles of the assistant superintendent for the short term? Right? This is not a position that we want to leave vacant forever, certainly. There will be mechanical things, operations related things, curriculum related things that will be needed to be attended to by a supervisor. They will also have to determine how the evaluations are going to be worked out and whether having one central office person with an administrative certificate in addition to everybody else is actually enough to complete all the observations that are actually on people's plates. But the board has sort of limitless options. We could go out and try to find an interim assistant superintendent for some amount of time. We could move Israel back to assistant superintendent after December 31st and hire a new interim superintendent. But I think that basically at this point, I don't get the feeling that there's a rush to install someone else in central office at this point. I think that the structures that have been set up are good structures, and the principals are going to be able to manage a lot of the things that are going on in their building. And when it comes time to, for us to have that conversation about where we want to add someone, we'll have a better sense of it, given the feedback from the principals and also from Mr. Soto as the interim superintendent.
So I think that anticipates then my next question, which was going to be, when is there going to be a search going out for interim superintendent? But that may not happen at all. It may just be Mr. Soto, depending on how the first few months go, or at least the next little while goes.
Yeah, and so presumably, we don't really know what the fate of Israel is going to be. He could, we love the guy, so not that kind of fate. But it may be the case that he is interested in staying on for the remainder of the year. It may be that the case that the board is interested in having him stay on for the remainder of the year, or there could be any other variation on that theme. The question of when the search for a permanent superintendent occurs, that's not going to happen in the fall, as far as I'm aware. I don't understand. I don't see the board wanting to push that at this time. Certainly with the folks that we've got in place now, with the transition into having the new building principals and having Mr. Soto in the central office, I think that we'll be able to manage very well at this time. And then I think that when the spring comes and there's some more time to spend 5-6 months on a process, the board may be interested at that time if the position of interim is not still filled. An interim superintendent can serve up to 2 years, and so it also might be the case that the board might be interested in hiring an interim who has 35 years of experience in 10 districts and can come in and really oversee things in a very, very good, positive manner. In which case, that would preclude the idea of hiring a full-time superintendent, a permanent superintendent. But there's so many variations within that.
Yeah, but Mr. Soto still has a contract as our assistant superintendent, so we haven't.
Yes.
the day that he stops being interim superintendent, he goes back to being assistant superintendent. And the plan to have the building principals be the effective curriculum heads for the respective buildings is that's solid. We're not looking for a new assistant superintendent because those monies have been reallocated.
Correct.
Okay. And what is going to be the plan or the time frame for the middle school principal? Because I see you've got an interim. How long is her contract for, and what's the plan for replacing the middle school principal?
So the interim contract has no end date right now. It would be at most a position that would be filled until June 30th as an interim. Sorry, there is a 200 days maximum, which is the school year plus a little bit. Right? There is some discussion about whether the person who's filling the interim position might at some point become a full-time middle school principal, because this is not the normal case of an interim, which is a retired person collecting a pension. Most interim positions are retired administrators who collect a pension from the state, and then there's a clause that allows them to then work and earn per diem, not health benefits, but per diem on top of the pension that they're earning. That is really the typical way that interns are hired. This is not the case for this individual, and so this is someone who's seeking permanent K-full employment, and so if things work out well, then at some point during this year there might be a change in that person's employment from intern to permanent, or the board would advertise for someone else at any point along that, because this is not a contract that has any particular, you must go to some date. The board would be able to terminate that contract, given some notice at any particular time.
So there's no need or requirement to re-advertise the position. If she's a good fit, you can just make her the principal.
I would imagine that you probably would have to advertise again as a full-time assistant, full-time principal.
But anyway, we have.
If we had someone who was a great candidate, then that would be the person that we would want to hire.
Okay, and final, just a sort of question: have there been some reassignments of committee chairs within the board? So Ashley, we were reporting for the curriculum committee because Claire's not here. Okay. All right. Thanks very much.